Welcome back to this special edition of Hannity. As Democrats rush to save Joe Biden's ailing campaign, it's inflation and lawlessness that could be the real downfall come November. According to a new survey, the cost of a 4th of July cookout has reached a record high, up another 5% since last year. Meanwhile, an illegal immigrant accused of raping a 15-year-old girl in Massachusetts earlier this year has been released on just a $500 bail. $500, that's it. So offensive. Despite calls from ICE to transfer him to their custody, wouldn't do it. They didn't do it. This, as more disturbing details are revealed in the alleged murder of Jocelyn Nungare by illegal immigrants, as her family confirms that she was sexually assaulted before she was killed. Here now with reaction, the Big Money Show co-host Brian Brenberg and Fox News political analyst and founder of the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety, Gianno Caldwell. Let's tackle the most difficult, hardest one first, Gianno. You're deeply involved and engaged in this idea of fighting back against crime. I see these horrific crimes happening, $500 bail and DAs that aren't willing to go after and prosecute these people to the fullest extent of the law. What's your take on this?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And there's one man who's created a majority of this chaos we've seen in the country. That name is George Soros. And that's why I came up with the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety, because we need to fight back against these sanctuary city policies and some state policies that do it as well. We need to fight back against these no bail laws, and we need to hold these people accountable, whether they be migrants or whether they be citizens who've chosen to commit these crimes and realize because of George Soros and these progressive prosecutors, there's no accountability. We have to fight as citizens, and I encourage people to join me at caldwellinstitute.org as we do this work. I'm going to tell you, my heart goes out to the citizens who continue to lose their lives in our country due to this migrant crime.
It's so sad. All right, I got to shift gears here a little bit. Brian, you're one of the smartest, best political analysts I know. You're super smart. I love your show. Quick, tell me, what's the Joe Biden plan to tackle inflation?
I'm not like a fortune teller. He doesn't have a plan to tackle inflation. He doesn't have a plan to get through the next week, Jason. I mean, that's the problem, whether it's the border or it's inflation or crime or whatever. These guys can't figure out if he's sentient enough to be the president. There's no way he's going to be able to solve these difficult problems. But the fact is, most of it is common sense, actually. You enforce the law. If ICE wants to take somebody to custody, you work with them. And if you want to solve inflation, quit spending everybody else's money through the government and get this Federal Reserve to pull back on money a little bit, and you'd be okay. But if the president can't figure out if he's going to survive the week, he's not going to figure out how to solve the nation's real problems. And that's a tragedy with all this.
Yes.
And Gianno, elections are about the future. I don't know that the president has a plan to lock down on immigration or solve our safety problems.
I mean, more importantly, to Brian's point, we don't know if he's going to be around in the next week. Kamala Harris doesn't have a plan. She was the border czar, and she failed at that mission, leaving a lot of us at risk. This administration has to go. We cannot survive 4 more months with them, let alone talking about 4 more years. This is the president, and he's not a president at this point. He's an empty suit.
Brian, the idea that Kamala Harris, the vice president, she was tasked with 2 things. Artificial intelligence and dealing with, in addition to obviously her space ads and stuff that she was going to do with those paid kid actors, but she was supposed to be the border czar, and she just radio silence, nothing.
Well, it was worse than radio silence. We actually got stuff out of her mouth. She talked about addressing root causes. I mean, how about just some natural intelligence out of this administration? Forget about artificial intelligence. Just give me something that makes sense. Kamala Harris, if it's possible, is worse than Joe Biden right now because she's never had a track record of anything except for dodging and saying things that don't make sense. But Democrats are in a box because if they don't go with her, they're going to violate all their own principles because they're not going to check all the right boxes. And that's a tragedy for America because what we need more than anything right now is competence. And that's the one thing these guys
That's
can't deliver.
exactly right. You've taken the words right out of my mouth. I think what America is looking for more than anything at this point, it's not identity politics. It's not all this rigmarole. The reason Donald Trump is surging is because they're looking for competence to deal with the issues that are right in their plate every single day. And that's where the Biden-Harris administration and the Democrats totally fail. Brian Brenberg, Gianno Caldwell, congratulations on the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety. Really good work, and I hope people are able to check it out.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.